Today I am sharing all of my money saving travel tips with you. I've been traveling for about the last 20 years, and I've been teaching people how to travel better and cheaper for the last about 3 years. I teach travel classes at the college where I work, and all of these tips I'm sharing with you today are tips that I share with my class, and they're things that I do personally to save money when I travel. Some of them are a little bit different and interesting. They're things that I haven't heard other people talk about a lot, so make sure you stay tuned so that you can save lots of money and go lots of places. If you're new here, hi, I'm Brenda. I make videos about travel and photography. I make travel vlogs and then videos like this where I help you learn how to travel cheaper and better. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you like this video and don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss one of my new adventures or my tips and tricks. So let's get into it. These are my top tips for saving money on travel. One of the biggest expenses when you're traveling, especially internationally, is your flight. So my first tip for saving money on flights is to use Google Flights, but then book with the airline directly. And the reason I say to use Google Flights and then book with the airline directly is because sometimes if you search directly on the airline, you're going to get a price that's different and usually a little bit more expensive than if you go into Google Flights first, you search the flight, you find the flights that you want, and then you go down to the bottom and book directly with the airline. Oftentimes, this is going to save you like $50 to $100 because it's going to give you the Google price rather than the airline price. And I don't know how they work on the back end, but I do know that I have gone in to the airline after finding my flight that I want on Google Flights. And when I look directly with the search engine on the airline, it's more expensive. So always make sure that you check with the Google Flights first. You can do it both ways and see which one is cheaper. Tip number 2 is also with Google Flights. You might not know that Google Flights has a lot of tools to help you see when the cheapest price and when the cheapest time to book is. It has a lot of analytics that tell you how far out to book a flight, if the prices you're seeing are typical, and you can also set an alert so that Google will email you when that price changes, whether it's going up or going down. So tip number 3 is to be flexible with your dates. So also in Google Maps, you can look and see how the price changes on different days. Sometimes different days of the week are cheaper to travel on. And if you adjust your flight by even one day before or after when you were searching, you can sometimes save hundreds of dollars. So make sure that you check this feature and be flexible with your days. Tip number 4. So when you're booking tickets, it's a good idea to double check both the round trip and one-way prices. Usually the round trip prices are going to be much cheaper. Even if you need to go to a third city, you can check multi-city prices. But occasionally, especially if you need specific times, one-way tickets are going to be cheaper. For example, I'm going to Florida in a couple of months, and the times that I wanted when I picked my outgoing flight, when I looked for the time I wanted on my return flight, it was really expensive on a round trip ticket. But when I looked one way and one way, I was able to get the times I wanted for cheaper than what it would have been round trip. So it's always a good idea to double check both. Tip number 5, don't buy the insurance that's offered through the airline at the end when you're booking your trip. It's gonna say, do you wanna insure your flights? Always check no on that. Chances are you have a credit card that has travel insurance built in, and so you're already getting that travel insurance piece for free. And if you're traveling internationally, you're gonna wanna buy an entire travel insurance package anyway, and so you don't wanna end up double paying that. It's also sometimes cheaper to just pay the extra little bit to get a refundable fare than it is to buy the insurance that's offered through the airline, because it's usually not the best. So just check all your options, but don't book the insurance that they offer. When you're searching for tickets and you see a deal that maybe is too good to be true, like you haven't seen a price that cheap, buy it. If it's with a US airline, just purchase it and then figure it out later. You actually have 24 hours to cancel completely free of charge with any US airline. So if you see a deal that is like $200-300 cheaper than you've been seeing, grab it, buy it, and then you have 24 hours to figure out if that daytime flight is gonna work for you. But if you wait until you figure it out, that price might not still be there. It is a great idea to stick with one airline and build loyalty with that airline. This does a couple of things. If you're flying a lot, you might be able to get status, which is gonna give you things like free upgrades or free checked bags. But another thing it's gonna do is you're going to accrue miles with this airline, and that is going to buy you free flights in the future. If you're booking with a lot of different airlines, then you're spreading out your points and you're not building up free flights as fast. However, if you're not flying all the time and there is a flight that's significantly cheaper than your normal airline, go ahead and book the cheaper flight if you're not chasing status, because even though you're not getting points on your loyalty airline, it's still better to save that money if it's a big amount. Get a travel credit card and use it like a debit card. And when I say use it like a debit card, I am saying don't spend money that you don't have. Just like when you have a debit card, you're only spending what money you have in your bank. A travel credit card should not be used to go into debt. However, if you do all your daily spending on your travel credit card, you're gonna be earning points on every dollar that you spend, and those points are gonna translate down the road to things like free flights. If you have a airline branded credit card, you're gonna earn points with a specific airline. If you have a card like the Chase Sapphire or the Amex Platinum, you're going to earn points within that credit card brand to transfer to their transfer partners or to spend on their travel portals. But it does add up. I have gotten like 3 free flights to Europe from my Chase card in the last 2 years just from my everyday spending. So it is completely worth it. We're not getting super into credit cards in this video. I will make another video about credit cards, but I do want to mention transfer bonuses. So when you have a travel credit card, the 3 major travel credit cards are going to be your Chase Sapphire, your Amex Platinum, and Capital One. And with all of these credit cards, they have transfer bonuses. So each credit card brand has transfer partners that you can transfer the credit card points to. And occasionally they'll have like a sale on points where there's a transfer bonus, and you can head over to NerdWallet or the Points Guy, and they have all this information that they put out whenever bonuses come up. But essentially you're getting like a 25 or 30% boost when you transfer points like to KLM or Flying Blue or Air Canada, wherever the sale is going. And this is a great way to utilize your points by using less points to get a better flight, or if you're saving up for like a business class flight, this is a great way to maybe meet that. Travel carry-on only. So by traveling carry-on only, you are avoiding baggage fees. And this can get really expensive when you're traveling on like budget airlines in Europe or budget airlines in Asia, because they charge a lot. Some of the budget airlines in the US now, we have Frontier or Spirit Airlines, they also charge a lot. And so being able to pack all of your things in a carry-on can really save you some money. However, if you are not a carry-on queen and you need some bags, and maybe you have a lot of camera equipment like I do, you might have a couple of checked bags, especially on a domestic flight. Check the price for a first class ticket, because sometimes some airlines for that second bag charge so much money, but a first class ticket comes with 2 free checked bags. Sometimes you can win by getting a better seat on the plane and getting both your bags checked for cheaper. The next tip is don't accept flight changes. So what I mean by this is occasionally when you have a flight booked, the airline changes something about the flight, the arrival time, the departure time, how long a layover is, and sometimes it's only like a minute. But when they do this, they're gonna send you an email that says, hey, we've changed your flight time. Do you accept this change? And you are not going to do anything. By not doing anything, you are not losing your flight. Nothing's gonna happen. You're still on the same flight. But airlines are required to allow you to change your flight for free if, because of an airline error or schedule change, they've changed the time of your flight. By not accepting the change, it gives you some flexibility to be able to change your flights later on, or even to cancel your flights without a fee. My final tip on finding cheaper flights is to check nearby airports. So when you're in Google Flights, you can also click a button that says check nearby airports. Or if you are between two airports like I am, I'm in like Central Oregon, so I'm an equal distance from the Eugene airport and the Portland airport. So you can check the price out of different airports. Some airlines fly cheaper out of one airport than another because it's a hub. Like United, for me, flies cheaper out of Eugene, but Delta flies cheaper out of Portland. But I always check both to see which one is gonna have the best price. So the second most expensive thing when we travel is definitely our accommodations. This can take up a huge chunk of our budget. So my first tip for saving money on accommodations is pet sitting. So if you have little or no budget, you have to check out the website trustedhousesitters.com. It's amazing. I have done a few of these sits, and I have a friend that spent an entire summer traveling Europe doing nothing but house sitting. Basically what you do is you search through the available sits, you find one that you like, it shows you the dates, what pets you're gonna be sitting, where it is, there's some pictures of the house, and you apply by writing a little letter to the people who are offering the sit. I did Zoom calls with the people after they accepted my application to make sure that it was a good fit, and they gave me like a Zoom tour around the house to make sure that it was what it looked like in the pictures. Most of the people who are on here are super nice. They're also travelers. They use it as them being a pet sitter and to have someone watch their pets while they're off traveling. So I've met some really amazing people. It's an incredible platform. I think the fee to sign up is like $129, but you recoup that in just one sit. I spent 2 weeks in England in the Cotswolds, like in a beautiful home. I got to go to the Jane Austen Festival. I have a video about it that I'll link here. And it was completely free for my accommodations. It's amazing. The next tip is to stick with one booking site. So there are a lot of booking sites out there like Expedia, bookings.com, hotels.com, but it's a good idea to stick with one platform that you like and build up loyalty and status with that. So I personally use Expedia, which is under the One Key platform now. So they're actually linked with hotels.com and VRBO. So if I book with any of those, I'm earning points, and I earn cash back on every stay that can go towards a new stay. Like I have $119 One Key cash right now that I can use off a hotel. Also, the more you book with one site, you get better deals. Like you might get a better discount on future hotels, and they have sometimes sales that are only available to like gold or platinum members. So the more you book with one site, the more you can save. The next tip is join hotel loyalty programs. So just like you're loyal to a third-party booking site, sometimes there are deals. If you are like a Hilton member, you can build up Hilton Gold status. I have Hilton Gold status through my Amex Platinum card. I also have Marriott Gold Elite status. And so with that, I earn more points towards free nights. So there are some loyalty things like that. It's also a good idea when you're looking at hotel prices to check the price directly with the hotels. Sometimes you can get a better deal. Sometimes Expedia is cheaper. So it just varies. It's a good idea to check both and to join the hotel loyalty programs. My next tip is, whenever you're booking a hotel, you're going to want free cancellation. This is really important, and this applies to rental cars also. I cannot tell you how much money I have saved by having free cancellation, because sometimes, kind of like airline prices, how they fluctuate, hotel prices and definitely rental car prices will fluctuate also. By having free cancellation, you can keep going back and checking the prices for your dates, and sometimes they're gonna drop like $100, $200, $300. I've saved so much money on rental cars doing this. I just saved like $100 on a rental car that I haven't even used yet because I keep going back and checking, and I looked for the same dates on like a different day. I checked later after I had booked one and it was $70 cheaper, so I booked it again, and it's free cancellation, so I can just cancel that more expensive reservation. It's a great way to leave some flexibility in case prices drop, or if your plans change, or if you want to stay in a different hotel, if another hotel you were looking at has a good deal, then you can cancel that one. It usually doesn't cost very much more to have free cancellation, and it's totally worth it for the money that you could be saving. Next tip is check for mobile only discounts. This especially applies to sites like Booking and Expedia. Sometimes the price that you see on a desktop version of these sites is going to be more expensive than the price that's going to come up on your app on your mobile phone. It sounds like a scam, but it's not. And sometimes it's significant, like 25% cheaper in the app. So make sure that you always check in the app for mobile only discounts whenever you're booking a hotel. The next tip is to join Rakuten. And a lot of people are hesitant to join Rakuten because it's a cashback site and it seems like a scam, but it's not. And sometimes they have some really killer deals. Right now, I just booked a hotel yesterday through Expedia and they had 10% off bookings at Expedia. So that means that the booking that I made is going to give me 10% cash back. Along the same lines as Rakuten, which gives you cash back, you can also check on your credit card apps or on their sites for offers. My travel credit cards and even my non-travel credit cards have offers attached to them. So my Chase Sapphire and Amex have some of the best offers. Right now I have an offer on my Amex card for $140 off when I spend $350 with Marriott. So almost half off a hotel stay. And I've seen other offers like $50 off, $200 spent on JetBlue or Frontier. There are tons of travel offers. There's also offers on day-to-day things like I've gotten, 10% off my groceries or 2% off gas, $5 off McDonald's. There's all kinds of offers in there. So don't forget to go into your credit card portals and look and see what the offers are. They also update every day, so go back and check often, just select them, and then you'll be getting cash back right on your credit card statement. Next, travel in the off season. And the off season doesn't necessarily have to be a bad season to go. There are also shoulder seasons where the weather is still good, but the prices are significantly cheaper. Sometimes even just a week or two can affect the prices like $100 a night. However, if you do have to go in the high season, like you have kids and they're only out of school in certain times, or if you want to go to Europe for Christmas markets, it is a great idea to book early. And by early, I mean like a year ahead of time if you can, like 11 months, 10 months. By booking early, there's going to be more availability and supply and demand. If there's more availability, the prices are going to be cheaper. Okay, my next tip is something that everybody talks about, but hostels. Hostels are a great option if you're traveling through Europe, especially. There are tons of hostels and they do not have an age limit. I'm in my 40s and I still stay at hostels, and I see people in their 50s, 60s, sometimes even 70s staying at hostels. You can get really good deals if you are weirded out by staying with other people. They do have private rooms, but I've noticed that the private rooms are more expensive than some nice hotel rooms in hostels. So try to suck it up if you're trying to save money. Try to find like a 4-person, I'm a female, so I always look for the female dorms, but not mixed dorms, and those tend to be quieter. Also, if you can get a bed that has a curtain so you have a little bit of privacy, it can be done. If you're really not into it, then it's not an option for you, but it can save a lot of money. So another really affordable accommodation is something that you may or may not be into: camping. I really enjoy camping. I like doing camping road trips. I've already done a camping road trip so far this summer. My daughter and niece and I drove halfway across the country, stopping and camping along the way. You do have to know, though, there's a lot of gear involved. If you're just getting started in camping, there's going to be that upfront cost. But we usually stay in places like KOAs where there's a shower and a pool or volleyball court, something for kids to do and to do with the family, and it costs $30 or $40 a night. When you compare that to spending $150, $200, $250, sometimes $300 a night on hotels, camping can save you a ton of money if that's something that you're into, willing to do, or even enjoy like me. My final money saving tip is to have a data plan before you land. So if you're traveling internationally, you have to have data. Not all phones will work outside of the US unless you sign up for a really costly plan, or sometimes your phone provider is just gonna charge you an outrageous amount of money without you even knowing. I read an article about a man who had like $100,000 phone bill because he was just using data like he would in the US while he was in Europe. One of the best phone plans to have if you travel a lot is definitely T-Mobile. They have an international plan that covers, I think, like 150 countries, maybe a little bit less than that. But as soon as you land, you have 5 gigs of data. And then if you go over that, it's a pretty reasonable price. You can also make phone calls and send text messages. It makes it really handy because your phone works with the same number as soon as you land. If you don't have T-Mobile, then another good option is to get an eSIM from a company like Airalo. You can download their app and buy the eSIM ready to go on your phone before you land. You can select which country you're going to, and eSIMs are usually only like $5, $10, at most like $15 for a pretty decent amount of data, and you can top it up as you go. I hope you found these tips helpful and that it was new information for you and that you can apply them to save money on your future travels. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a thing. I'll see you in the next one.